two Georgia Republican lawmakers hosted a briefing on Obama's secret mind control plot. Have you heard about this? It was all over television, locally here. Let me give you the story. President Obama is using a Cold War-era mind control technique known as Delphi to coerce Americans into accepting his plan for a United Nations-run communist dictatorship in which suburbanites will be forcibly relocated to cities. Jesus H. Christ. That's according to a 4-hour briefing delivered to Republican state senators at the Georgia State Capitol in downtown Atlanta last month. I mean, this really is, I experience this all the time, the feeling that I am living in an asylum. It's like one of those dreams you have where, you know, you're captured someplace. You're in a place and it's scary and you want to get out and you can't get out. And maybe it's a building and you go from room to room and the rooms are beat up and they're scary and they're dark. And then you look in your dream and there's a long, dark hallway. Maybe at the end of the hallway there's a bare light bulb hanging from the ceiling. And it's like, 25 yards long down this hallway. And it's very dark except at the end. And you have to go that way. But you know that down that hallway is just unspeakable terror. You ever get that feeling? When you're awake? I do. Now, maybe it's just the initial stages of some kind of mental derangement on my part, but on October 11th, at a closed-door meeting of the Republican caucus here in Georgia, convened by the majority leader, the House Majority Leader, Chip Rogers, a teabagger, he told Republican lawmakers that Obama was mounting this most diabolical conspiracy. The event, captured on tape by a member of the Athens, Georgia-based watchdog group, Better Georgia. And this guy was removed from the office, from the room, after 52 minutes. They found him out. But the event had been billed as an information session on Agenda 21. That's a non-binding UN agreement that commits member nations to promote sustainable development. Promote sustainable it's oh my God. I live in Georgia. Let me tell you something. When people talk about the ass freaks in Alabama or Louisiana or Arkansas or Mississippi or South Carolina, no. You talk about the freaks that cluster in Texas? No. Forget about it. World-class moronic dumbassery is centered right here in Georgia. This is it. This is the place. You know, forget all your stories and all your rumors about the hollers up in Kentucky or in Arkansas or in North Carolina. Nuh-uh. Nothing compared to Georgia. Nothing. Now, when we come back after this break, I'll tell you about Agenda 21. All right, Agenda 21. On October 11th, here in the Georgia State Capitol, closed-door meeting of the Republican caucus, only Republicans. And the meeting was convened by the caucus's majority leader, Chip Rogers, a teabag freak, who told other Republicans that Obama was mounting this most diabolical conspiracy. Agenda 21. A non-binding UN agreement that commits member nations to promote sustainable development. Now, in the eyes of conservative activists, of course, Agenda 21 is a hideous plot that includes forcibly relocating non-urban dwellers and prescribing mandatory contraception as a means of curbing population growth. No, this is not from The Onion. This is real. The invitation to the Georgia State Senate event noted the presentation would include, quote, how pleasant-sounding names are fostering a socialist plan to change the way we live, eat, learn, and communicate in order to, quote, save the earth, end quote. Now, the meeting consisted of a PowerPoint presentation followed by a 90-minute screening of the anti-Agenda 21 documentary entitled Agenda, Grinding America Down. It was emceed by Field Cersei. Is that this freak's first name, or is it Fred? I think it's Field. Field Cersei, a local conservative activist who was forced out of the Georgia Tea Party in April due to his endorsement of conspiracy theories about the president's birth certificate and the collapse of World Trade Center Tower 7. The presentation also featured a special video cameo from conservatives, from conservative talking head Dick Morris, in which the former Clinton aide warns that Obama, quote, wants to force everyone into the cities from whence our ancestors fled, end quote. About 23 minutes into the briefing, this crazy person, Cersei, explained how President Obama, aided by liberal organizations like the Center for American Progress and business groups like local chambers of commerce, are secretly using mind control techniques to push their plan for forcible relocation on the gullible public. Cersei said this: they do that by a process known as the Delphi technique. The Delphi technique was developed by the Rand Corporation during the Cold War as a mind control technique. It's also known as consensive process. But basically, the goal of the Delphi technique is to lead a targeted group of people to a predetermined outcome while keeping the illusion of being open to public input. Obama, of course, has taken no steps to bring the United States under the control of the United Nations Sustainable Development-themed dictatorship. But that hasn't stopped state legislatures and local conservative groups from taking aim at the perceived threat. In May, the Kansas legislature approved a resolution blocking Agenda 21 from being implemented in that state, following the footsteps of Tennessee. Back to Mr. Rogers, the Georgia Senate Majority Leader. He introduced legislation in January that would have blocked the non-binding UN resolution from being applied in the state of Georgia. Among other things, the resolution noted that, quote, according to the United Nations Agenda 21 policy, social justice is described as the right and opportunity of all people to benefit equally from the resources afforded by society and the environment, which would be accomplished by socialists and communists' redistribution of wealth. But as Seth Clark, the Better Georgia volunteer who filmed this madness, points out, Mr. Rogers' warning extended well beyond the actions of liberal politicians. According to one slide that was featured at the presentation, smart growth and sustainable development are often promoted by NGOs, chambers of commerce, and public-private partnerships that are unelected and unaccountable to the public. And in August, when the Georgia Chamber of Commerce handed out its official grades for state legislators, Mr. Rogers here got an A+. Apparently the conspiracy is coming from inside the Georgia Capitol. Blah! I mean, it's just unbelievable. Just undamn believable. Here's a guy who is observably insane. I mean, anyone talking to him would understand he's a very sick man, but he has no problem getting members of the Georgia Senate into a meeting where they sit there for an hour and a half and listen to this stuff and go, oh, yeah, okay, well, we got to do something. Yeah, we do.